Welcome to the Art Life video blog, day 85. My name is Alex LaFollette.
My name is Jacob Wolf. Welcome everybody. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, thank you.
Really great. I love your home. It's really nice.
Thanks. Yeah. We try. we try.
So you are from the Portland area.
Yeah, born and raised.
Born and raised here. And you are not trained, you haven't gone to school for art.
Yeah, I don't have any official training with my art. It's all self-taught.
Right on.
Yeah.
Did you take art classes in high school? And before?
I took about one art class in high school, and it was ceramics, so it wasn't even painting.
I took no art classes in high school, other than like photography and video and
the more fun classes.
Yeah, it's definitely what I was interested in.
Oh yeah. Art classes in high school, from what my friends had told me, were just pretty boring and dry, and same thing with college.
Right.
You know, just a lot of technicalities and...
Right. So, I mean, a lot of that stuff is necessary.
Oh, completely necessary. I don't want to bash it at all.
But, yeah. So, what got you interested in painting?
Well, I've always been interested in the arts in general, whether it's acting or music or painting, sculpture, from very early on. And I always wanted to be a part of that in some way. I tend to live in my head a little bit more than I think people should. And I found that painting was a way for me to transfer that and kind of a therapeutic release for me. Mm-hmm. So that's why I decided to start painting.
Right on. Were you painting to share it with people, or were you just doing it for your own benefit?
Well, I mean, the end goal was for me to share it with people in hopes that they would like it.
Yeah.
Because I always felt that if I'm painting something that no one else appreciated, then maybe there wasn't something to what I was doing, and maybe I'm just wasting my time. Mm-hmm. And if that was the case, I wouldn't really take it that seriously. I would just kind of do it for fun every now and again. Fortunately, I have, gotten some love and support from a few people that really motivate me to try harder for my next piece.
That's rad.
Yeah.
So when did you sell your first piece?
I sold my very first piece back in April, so fairly recently, and that was a huge motivation for me to want to better myself and to really take it more seriously. Mm-hmm. That was just a huge part of my life, I would say, would be selling my first piece.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And have you sold a few pieces since then?
Yeah, I've been selling paintings fairly consistently since then, which is honestly kind of a shock to me.
Yeah.
Just because, Portland's such a large area and such a rough market to get anything sold. So I'm just grateful that people like at least some of what I do.
Right. How are you getting your work out there? Are you going to galleries or?
Mainly, most of my work has been sold through Instagram, actually. So people will, I'll hashtag Portland or PDX, and people will see it, and then they'll private message me saying that they like a piece, and then we work out how they could get a hold of that.
Right on.
Yeah.
I recently got on Instagram. I'm still really new to it. I don't think I figured out how to private message anybody.
Oh yeah.
Whenever I want to message somebody, I just do at their name and then type the message on a photo. But I can't figure out.
Oh yeah, and it's still a little weird if I get a private message from someone on Instagram, a name that I don't know. I'm just like, well, hold on, I don't know you, so it's a little weird hesitation. But then it's a flattering message, saying I really like that painting that you posted, and is it for sale, and blah blah blah.
Rad.
Yeah.
What have you been doing lately for your art? Have you been painting a lot? Do you have a studio here?
Honestly, I paint on my floor. Yeah. I have old bed sheets that I just lay out to make sure I don't ruin the carpet here. And I really like working on top of my art, so I'll have the canvas and I'll lay it flat down on the floor, and then I'll lean over and paint on top of it. For me personally, I have much more control over what I do with my paintings, rather than if it was up on an easel. For some reason, it's much harder for me to paint with one of those. So I prefer the Jackson Pollock way of just laying it down flat on the ground.
Right on.
So that seems to work much better for me.
How do people get a hold of you? You said your Instagram.
Yeah.
What's that information?
Yeah. So my Instagram is at Alex Laf. So at ALEXLAF, then the number 3.
Okay. Sweet. And do you put all your stuff on Facebook as well?
I tend to stay away from Facebook just because those are more of my private friends, and I don't want to bombard them with a new painting that I do. I don't want them to get, a little furious at me for putting up a painting on the wall every, week or so. So I try to keep my Instagram page much more for just my art,
for your art,
and Facebook for my social life.
Right on.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I try to, but sometimes they cross over with each other.
Well, let's show off some of your work.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pull this off.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only thing, just be careful with the A right there. That was actually, I just finished this up this morning. So
wow.
That's still a little wet, but the rest of it's totally good.
Right on. So this is brand new.
Yeah, this is actually my newest piece that I have completed. And yeah, me personally, I like the energy that it gives off. Like I said earlier, I kind of live in my head with a lot of things, and I try to convey that onto a canvas in some fashion.
Right on. I like it.
Thank you.
And it says, "Woman, keep your heart warm."
Yeah, and the reasoning behind for having some of it spelled backwards was just for the chaos that can go in someone's head when, like, they're in a relationship or something like that, and like maybe it's going south or maybe it's a rough patch that they're going through. So I wanted to really convey that, relationships can be messy, and I'm speaking from the other person's point of view with that relationship, with where they're going with that.
Rad. What other ones do you want to show off? You got some over here?
Yeah, we have a few over there we can definitely grab.
Alright, so you don't just paint on canvas, apparently.
Yeah, actually someone was getting ready to just throw away that flower vase, and I decided that instead of throwing it away, that I'd rather just paint it and do much more of a primitive style to the vase, something a little edgy in a way. And I like the utility of it because you can still certainly use it to put flowers in there.
Right on.
But it's not like a soft feature like what a vase is generally supposed to be, of like just clear glass or pretty colors. So so I want something a little offbeat with that.
You've got an angel here.
Yeah, so I have me personally, I'm not a religious person. I tend to really steer away from that, actually. But for some reason, angels, just the idea of angels that the religious have, has always fascinated me. And what I wanted to do here with this one was have a male figure with a very strong stance, a very firm build, but to give him more feminine colors with the silver and purple with what he's wearing. And then to add in lighter colors.
So what about angels attracts you to them? Like the guardian?
Yeah, it's more of the guardian angel way of thinking. How a lot of people tend to want to, or like the idea of having a more supreme being watch over them, kind of like a babysitter. And it's fascinating to me that a lot of people really latch on to that idea as some sort of a comfort mechanism.
Right.
And that's just really, really interested me, that whole thought process, because I don't think like that. I don't think that I need to have someone watching over me telling me what to do, or some celestial being protecting me in some way. But a whole lot of people have that need, in a sense.
It is comforting to think that if I screw up, this being, whether it's an angel or a god, will still take care of me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that sense of security that a lot of people, I would even say instinctually need. Just because it's it can be a scary thought to veer away from a supreme being and to think that, you know, we might just be alone in this world. Mm-hmm. And that can be a very scary thought for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so that's how come I really like the idea, at least, even though I don't necessarily believe in it. I like the idea of the angel and the sense of comfort that people get from wanting to have that faith.
You said
it's intriguing to me.
You said that you spend a lot of time thinking about your color scheme before you do a painting.
Yeah. So a lot of my paintings look fairly messy, and they generally are. But what I do is, once I come up with the idea for a painting, is I'll come up with the color scheme, and the very first thing that I think of is how to balance those colors that I use. So even though